Amol Rajan admitted not liking Philip and Charles in rant against royal family. Amol Rajan admitted disliking Prince Philip and Prince Charles in a throwback column. Before making his BBC Radio 4 Today programme debut, the broadcaster's Amol Rajan claimed he had a full-on panic attack. Ahead of his first day on Monday's edition of the show, Mr. Rajan noted the extent of his nerves the night before. Mr. Rajan, the BBC's media editor, said he managed only an hour's sleep before arriving for his first shift on the flagship show at the sobering hour of 3:45 a.m., as he thanked his wife and colleagues for helping him make it to the mic. He wrote on Twitter alongside an early morning shot of him in the studio, 10 p.m. last night I had a full-on panic attack. Worked myself up into a frenzy, catastrophizing about the first shift on BBC's Radio 4 Today. Had 3 massive rums and a bit else. Got 1 hour kip, in at 3.45 below. Survived. Thank you so much for all the niceness and constructive criticism. Mr. Rajan, who recently finished as presenter of Radio 4's The Media Show, will now host the flagship breakfast program with Justin Webb, Michelle Hussain, Martha Kearney and Nick Robinson. His background is largely in print journalism as a former editor of The Independent. He also used to write a Monday column for the London Evening Standard, in which he talked about various topics. In 2012, he criticised the way the UK press covers the royal family, arguing British journalists only portray a confected picture to the audience. Mr. Rajan made the example of Kate, the Duchess of Cambridge, and how the public never sees a picture of her on the front pages when she isn't smiling and looking gorgeous. He wrote, but like the rest of us she is prone to bad moods and bad breath, and doesn't look her best on a hangover. You wouldn't know that from media coverage of her. What you get is an idol, not a person. The journalist also admitted not being a big fan of Prince Philip and Prince Charles. He added, I have absolutely nothing against Prince Harry, or Prince William, or Catherine Middleton, or the Queen. Other royals, particularly Prince Philip and the scientifically illiterate Prince Charles, who champions policies that would lead to the murder by starvation of millions of Africans, I dislike. Mr. Rajan did not name the exact policies championed by the Prince of Wales and his father. Since the early 80s, Charles has promoted environmental awareness. Upon moving into Highgrove House, he developed an interest in organic farming, which culminated in the 1990 launch of his own organic brand, Dutchie Originals, which now sells more than 200 different sustainably produced products, from food to garden furniture. The profits are donated to the prince's charities. Along similar lines, the Prince of Wales became involved with farming and various industries within it, regularly meeting with farmers to discuss their trade. Speaking to the European Parliament in 2008, he called for European Union leadership in the war against climate change. During the standing ovation that followed, then leader of the UK Independence Party, UKIP, Nigel Farage remained seated and went on to describe Charlist advisers as naive and foolish at best. In a speech to the Low Carbon Prosperity Summit in a European Parliament chamber a few days later, Charles said that climate change skeptics were playing a reckless game of roulette with the planet's future and were having a corrosive effect on public opinion. He also articulated the need to protect fisheries and the Amazon rainforest, and to make low-carbon emissions affordable and competitive. In 2011, Charles received the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds Medal for his engagement with the environment, such as the conservation of rainforests. According to unearthed reports, though, Charles' views are different to the ones of his late father, Prince Philip. In a 2018 report by The Telegraph, author and journalist Christopher Booker revealed that after the publication of his 2009 book The Real Global Warming Disaster, he received two notably contrasting responses from Charles and Philip. In the book, Mr. Booker asserts that global warming cannot be attributed to humans, and then alleges how the scientific opinion on climate change was formulated. He claims that global warming is not supported by a significant number of climate scientists, and criticizes how the UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change (IPCC) presents evidence and data, in particular citing its reliance on potentially inaccurate global climate models to make temperature projections. In the Telegraph report, the journalist explained that after his book's publication, the Prince of Wales protested that he was quite bemused by his views on global warming, and struck him off the royal Christmas card list. On the other hand, his father, Prince Philip, reportedly wrote Mr. Booker a long, thoughtful and sympathetic letter, in which he also wanted to correct a mistake he had made in the book. Mr. Booker said, "I had said Prince Philip was still a supporter of the World Wildlife Fund, which he co-founded in 1961. In fact, he said, he had withdrawn from the WWF after it switched from its original focus on saving endangered species to relentless campaigning against global warming." The Duke of Edinburgh, the longest-serving consort in British history, died peacefully at Windsor Castle on April 9 this year.